The first time I booted up Barbaria, I thought I had kind of an idea of what to expect. I saw these big, huge, massive, hulking arms in front of me and was ready to just go in and beat the crap out of something. I figured it was going to be pretty much Gorn, but just more like an open world, where instead of being in an arena, you were walking around and beating stuff up. And I was kind of right, but I didn't realize quite how wrong I was at the time. In Barbaria, you play the part of a semi-god. It's basically their take on a demigod. Not quite a full-fledged god, but definitely not a human. You emerge into the game into this sort of void space, and you're met here by this flying imp who is basically supposed to show you the ropes. One of the first things he does is he introduces you to your avatar. He's basically the physical manifestation of your godly power in the physical realm. The game then wastes no time getting you into its main mechanic. You take your avatar into your hands, and then you place him into the physical world. Then you're able to press square to take control of your avatar and go down to the physical plane. And this is where things start to get interesting. You emerge from a shower of particle effects into the real world. Everything around you is stone and skulls. It's really kind of cool. And you've got these giant, massive, hulking arms still. And it's pretty clear what you're there to do, and that's to bust heads. So the first thing you do is you go up to a stone wall and show just how tough you are by beating your way through it. Not gonna lie, this is an awesome introduction to the world and makes you immediately feel like a badass. Then an imp is spawned in and you go to work. The way you beat each of the sections, which the physical world is broken down into sections, is by destroying these power crystals and beating all of your enemies. Then it opens the next section, you do the same thing there, and then once you've destroyed all of the creatures and broken all of the crystals, you complete the level. The game then introduces you to the next mechanic, which is blocking. The flexing and trying to look cool, that's all on me. The game doesn't say to do that. And right then, 2 more imps respond into the world for you to show what you've learned. For me, it was that I should definitely do what it just taught me how to do. The way the game highlights your fists when you're in a proper blocking position really makes sure that you know when you are going to be able to block an attack. So there's none of that, hey, I was blocking, he shouldn't have been able to hit me. Also, another thing the game is quick to make it pretty easy for you to understand is that anything in this world can be used as a weapon. Broken piece of wood, smash it, and then throw it at your enemy. And I have to say, this game has some of the best throwing mechanics I've seen in a VR game. See how the objects collide in midair? I was even able to grab one out of midair and throw it back at my enemy. You really feel like a badass, and it's pretty dead on all of the time. If you miss, it's your fault. And with my enemy defeated, I was triumphant, and the level was over. It brought me here, which I thought was just a splash screen to show me how everything turned out, but then I noticed it says replay in progress. And this is one of the coolest and most charming features I think about this game, is that you're able to watch every single battle you perform in real-time replay. You see it from your god perspective, you see your avatar go and do your will on the mortal plane in perfect detail. Every movement that you make with your head, every movement with your hands is completely replicated in detail. And it's absolutely mesmerizing to watch. Sometimes I spend half of my playtime just watching my replays and seeing all of the cool stuff that I did during a level and all of the cool kills and all of the times I threw and got that perfect shot. Half of my clips that I saved from this were things like this. And it's yet another thing that sets this game apart from other brawlers in the VR space. And it's also another thing that I completely did not expect, and it's yet another thing that shows this game's full depth. One that I wasn't prepared for. Then you click claim reward after you're finished enjoying your replay, and a huge chest is tossed at you that you actually have to physically open. And one of the first things you get is your first weapon. The game then immediately gives you an opportunity to use that new weapon. Weapons could be gripped up high or down low. They're stored on both of your hips, and then weapons like bows and arrows, shields, thrown weapons are held on your back. Held weapons come in two main categories. The first one is slashing, which swords and axes are, which is what we're using right now. Swords and axes are able to cut body parts off, which can then actually be picked up and thrown as weapons against your other enemies. Weapons can also be dual-wielded, which is especially awesome. They collide and clang, and you can also hold them in front of yourself to block against incoming weapon attacks from your enemies. Weapons can be thrown, picked up from dead enemies. It's really cool. You're then introduced to the second weapon type, which is bludgeoning weapons like this giant warhammer. Warhammers are best against skeletal enemies because, you can't really cut bones efficiently with a knife or a blade, but they can be easily dispatched with large bludgeoning weapons. Skeletons are able to take their heads off and throw them at you, and they then explode for some wicked, awesome reason. But you can also pick up those exploding heads and throw them back at your enemies. I was even able to catch one of these heads on the end of my hammer and then throw my hammer back at my enemies. This game is constantly doing little things like that to surprise you. I then opened my next chest and found my next big surprise, my very first minion of my own. An imp, one of the main creature types in the game and one that you'll get very familiar with during your playthrough. The next thing Barbaria does is teach you about its core gameplay loop. The way Barbaria works is you're a semigod, and you control your own small realm. Your job is to attack other realms and try to defeat them. While you're offline, other semigods or other players will attack your realm and try to defeat you. Every time you log back into Barbaria, it'll show you all of the people who tried to attack you, how they did, and you'll be afforded the opportunity to watch a replay of that attack. But the first thing you have to do is come up with a godly name, and I can't think of any better. Attacking each other's realms isn't only metered in a simple win-loss ratio. The way it works is every time you're successful at attacking another person's realm, your might goes up, which is a number that's displayed on the upper left of the archway. Then, when someone attacks your base and it's successfully defended by your minions and things that you've placed in your realm, then it will be shown as your defense, and your defense numbers will go up. The more times it's successfully defended, the higher the number goes. The more times you successfully assault someone else's realm, the higher your might goes. And this is also how you're shown on the leaderboard. And not only will this affect your place on the leaderboard, it'll directly affect the strength of the realms you're able to invade, which get bigger and bigger the more your might goes up, but it'll also affect the strength of the attackers that come to invade your realm as your defense numbers go up. So we've chosen our first one. It has a strength rating of 10 defense, and so we invade with our avatar, and it's time to go to work. Doing a little dance on your way to killing is completely optional. The structure that's rising up out of the ground is an imp generator. It'll continue to generate imps while you're in this area, and then as you defeat the imps, you go around to each of the power crystals on the outside pylons of the structure and destroy those to turn off the generator and to help clear the area. It's pretty cut and dry, but trust me, it only gets more difficult from here. Afterwards, you have a chance to watch a replay of your exploits, or you can just go ahead and click to claim your reward. Oh, where's it? Ah, there we go. And this reward is our first structure, because now the game takes you to the next part, which is where you actually begin to build your realm. At any time that you're in the hub area, you're able to click on your realm to bring it up, where you can make changes and adjustments, add and take things away like traps and minions. It really gets complicated. See, I can't add a structure here because it's early in the game and you're limited to one structure until you level up. And yes, you can level up your realm as well as the other structures that are in it. It gets really in depth. If we walk over here, on this pedestal is where you'll keep your collection of traps and other gadgets that'll help your realm. You place them in sort of an RTS style. As you can see here, there's green rings around things. You can't cross into other areas where green rings are, where other structures are, but you can put them right up to the edge. If you try to cross over, see, it turns red and your structure won't place. But anywhere else is fair game. You can even place your imps and other minions, and they'll defend your realm while you're away. You can even place your avatar, and your avatar will defend your realm while you're away. Now bear in mind there is a build limit. See here we're at 3 of 8 points, and when we place our avatar we're at 7 of 8. That leaves us only one other point to expend to add things to our realm. There's ways to inflate this number, but we'll get to that at a later time. Then if you want, you can go in and see how good your defenses are at repelling attackers. Now bear in mind it will be different when you're away because your avatar will help defend your realm, but he'll only do so in a rudimentary way based on your stats and based on the game's AI. Another cool thing is after you successfully defend your realm, you'll not only be given a monetary reward, but you'll also be given a physical one like structures or weapons or other things. Another cool thing you can do is you can take your defenders, such as your imp, place them on this pedestal, and give them a name. Not only does this make them more personable, but it also adds the ability to track how many kills and things they've gotten. So if you notice that one of your imps has started to get less kills and stuff like that as things get tougher, you can go and level them up and help them get a little bit stronger, give them a little bit of a boost. Now bear in mind these are the guys that are going to defend your realm, so make sure that you always give them a nice, strong, tough warrior's name, like Beavis. Alright, you ready to come defend the realm, Beavis, from attackers?
Yeah, let's kick some ass.
If you walk down this plank, you'll see the rankings on your left and on your right. Your right is your rank amongst, and the one on the left is the rank of the other people. It'll also show you what platform they're on, because this does have cross-platform play with PC and with, I think this is also on the Oculus. Also, if you look down at the bottom center in between the two pillars, it shows your current violence, which is the only currency allowed in Barbaria, and your max violence, which can be upgraded as you upgrade your realm. I also misspoke earlier, I'm sorry. Your defense is measured in fortitude, and your attack is measured in mightiness. That's the number that goes up when you attack other realms. And then you get to go into battle with your new minion. You can take up to 4 minions into battle that I'm aware of right now at the time of this recording, but you start out with only the one. And your minion will come along with you, and he will autonomously help you in all of your endeavors. You'll also see other people's avatars start to show up, and you'll have to battle them. But your minion will help fight other avatars and other minions, and he'll also go and try to break crystals whenever he's able, which is way more of a help than you might think. This is definitely incentive not only to keep your minions alive, but to continue to upgrade them so that they can be more effective in battle. Then just wash, rinse, and repeat. Eventually you'll unlock Doug's Discount Deity Store, where you can buy and sell weapons, pieces for your realm, sometimes even new minions, and continue to build your collection. You'll eventually unlock this vanity area where you can take your champion or other minions and stuff and unlock new and cool outfits for them. Some of them get a little bit pricey, but what is the price of beauty? Especially when you're, covered in blood. You can change your avatar or your champion's skin tone to match yours, or you can even just change your taunt. A taunt is played anytime that you successfully invade a realm. When they come back, they'll see this little diorama play out in front of them. It's sort of just a way to rub their nose in it. You'll also end up unlocking On the Level, a place where you can take your champion, place them on the pedestal, and pay a small fee to upgrade their level, which will in turn upgrade their attack ability and their defense, or health. This doesn't only apply to your champion. This also applies to your weapons, it applies to your structures, it applies to your traps, and even your minions and other defenders. Some things can't be upgraded, but far more can than can't. As I continued my conquest, like I said earlier, I was able to gather yet another minion into my employ, which I immediately took over and upgraded and gave the warrior's name, Butthead, to go with his companion Beavis. Also, after upgrading my realms, I was able to take both Beavis and Butthead with me on my future conquests, and 2 minions are always better than 1. Let's go kick some ass, boys. Later on down the line, you will end up unlocking another very valuable resource. You will unlock Rise and Grind. Rise and Grind is this game's challenge station. This happy little imp barista here will come and serve you up with 2 unique challenges per day. When you complete these challenges, you'll return here and he will serve you up with a nice reward. Later I returned. I had completed one of my challenges. I then simply had to click on Collect Reward, and I was served up with 2 fresh rewards, one usually being a big chunk of currency, and the other being a piece for your realm or weapon or something like that. Sometimes it's both currency, but don't forget, currency goes a long way towards helping build up your defenses and leveling up your characters. If you ever want to know what something does, just let it hover and click X on it, and it'll show you the name of the piece, it'll show you what level it is, how many points it takes up in your realm, its health, recharge time, and tell you what it does. Yet another thing you'll unlock as you go forward is your ability to call on your godlike powers. By pressing square in the middle of battle, you'll leave your corporeal form on the battlefield and go into hover mode, where you can call down meteor strikes and other impressive abilities that you'll unlock during your battles. By pressing square again, you'll return to your mortal coil and continue to be able to fight on the battlefield. And trust me, this comes in very clutch in some hairy situations. Like I mentioned before, every time you return to the game, it'll show you that you were attacked, who attacked you, and whether or not they were successful. Sometimes you'll be tempted just to let it go by, but occasionally it's a good idea to watch the attacks on your realm. Not only for your own self-aggrandizement and to bask in the glory of your kingdom, but also to look and see what defenses are working, what defenses aren't, places that you can shore up your defenses, see what contraptions are doing you some good and which ones are just going to waste so that you can replace them with things that do work. Now, me personally, when I go into someone's realm, I also like to take a little pose at the end to let them know just who's boss. Another rare treat in this game is in the form of this reward. Every once in a while you'll unlock this golden music note, and when you take it, you unlock a mini-game. And that mini-game is called the Symphony of Violence. What a great name. The Symphony of Violence is a mini-game in which you possess your avatar, you're then given a golden arrow quiver that's full of unlimited arrows. It's basically a target practice game, but instead of just increasing your aptitude with the bow and arrow, you also unlock a boatload of violence. Well, I mean, not just violence, it's violent, but it also unlocks violence in the form of this game's currency. You don't get them very often, but every time you do, it's a real treat, and it'll help you unlock and level up a bunch of stuff really quickly. And for some reason, I'm reminded of the 5th of November. I don't know why. Once again, this is not only a fun game, but it's also a definite reason to get good with the bow and arrow. That way next time it comes around, you can make even more money and boost up your defenses and your allies even more.
That was awesome!
And of course, in good old Barbaria fashion, you can go back and watch your replay of the Symphony of Violence. As you continue, you'll unlock more and more awesome things to add to your realm, such as these giant statues that not only add cool ambiance, but can be very intimidating to would-be attackers of your realm. Not only that, but they also show off what kind of money and status you have, and that you've really put some time and some thought into how your place looks and how your defenses are. Eventually, you'll even unlock Barbaria, which is silly sounding, I know, but this is an important place too. It's yet another way to bolster your champions. Here you'll be able to boost 3 of your important stats: your Divine Powers recharge rate, the amount of attack you do, and the amount of defense your individual champions have. And when you choose one, it goes into this extremely cool little montage, a la 80s hero style. Another important note is here at Barbaria there are 3 individual stations, which means you can upgrade each of your champions 3 times. Dump all your stats into one, or do one each, however you choose to do it. Keep pushing on, you'll keep gaining more and more traps, more and more minions, more and more weapons. You can even take your minions over to the cosmetic station and give them a nice little makeover, just like you would your champions. That's an awesome looking skeleton, because you know style matters. Also, you'll gain more and more weapons, and the weapons don't just work for your champions. You can then take these weapons and outfit your minions however you want to make them more effective in battle. Change hands with the weapons, however you want to outfit them is up to you. I cannot say enough good things about Barbaria. I am absolutely in love with this game, and I really regret waiting as long as I did to pick it up. It's one of those games that looks like a puddle on the surface, but then when you stick a toe in, you realize that it's actually an ocean. There's so much depth and complexity here that I didn't expect, and I could go on and on about tons of stuff that I never even got to cover here, but this video would be over an hour long if I went into all the little details. This is definitely a game that I think you should pick up. It's fun, its humor is tongue-in-cheek. When you're in the overworld, it plays this nice jazzy kind of tune that clashes with the grim skulls and violence look of it. There's just so much. I could gush and go on, but I'm not going to hold you here all day. I think I've said enough to where you should realize that if this is your kind of thing, you've already decided by now that you're going to buy it. Barbaria is by far one of my favorite games on the PSVR2 at this current moment. I've put tons of time in it, and I plan on putting tons more. But folks, that's all I've got for you here today. Thank you for listening to this. Thank you for watching my videos. If you could like and subscribe or share my stuff, that would really help out. It helps the algorithm. I hate asking this stuff, but you know it really does help out and help the channel grow. And we've done a lot of growing here lately, and I have all of you folks to thank for that. And, well, I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to go back and do some more ass-kicking in Barbaria. I'll see you guys next time here on Just Playing with Charlie Murphy. Bye-bye.